please help me welcome Representative Cathy McMorris Rodgers.
Thank you very much, Admiral Ryan. I'm a big fan of MOAA and so appreciate the leadership that Admiral Ryan is bringing to this organization. And across the board, people often say it, but MOAA is highly respected on Capitol Hill. And just appreciate your leadership for all military families, those that are active duty, those that are retired, and the important role that they play. We can never say thank you enough, and we as a country are grateful to everyone in their service. Now, my husband would not approve of my arrival date or arrival time. This is a constant struggle. Being married to a Navy guy, I mean, he's always on time. And I am always struggling. That's always my New Year's resolution, that I'm going to do better. I'm going to work to get on time. But I appreciate you giving me a few minutes just to talk to you today. I think that this is so important, the focus on spousal employment. And when Admiral Ryan and the team was in the office earlier this year, I said, I definitely would like to be a part of this, would like to partner with MOAA as far as being the co-chair of the Military Family Caucus to help highlight what this report has revealed, as well as what's available to military spouses. And I think as a country, we just need to continue to do better. So I think the focus today on resume writing and how to make sure that you're maximizing your skills, your talents, and telling your story is very important. Learning from LinkedIn and their strategies. I actually had the chance to meet the CEO of LinkedIn recently, Jeff Weiner, and he just then last week was #1 CEO in America on the Wall Street Journal poll, and talk about inspiring. He is, but his goal is to make LinkedIn like the premier employment site, so that moving forward, anywhere you are in America or around the world, that's the place to identify the best talent and connect employees with great employers. So that is, I was pleased to see that was also on your list, which also reminds me, right now in America, where a lot of discussion around long-term unemployed and those that they estimate 4 million Americans right now that are long-term unemployed. It's doubled just in recent years, and it's something that is very much on the minds of members of Congress. We also have 4 million jobs going unfilled because employers can't find employees that have the skills. So there's continuing the skill gap. And so as I think about the challenges facing military spouses, again, they need to be a part of that discussion in how do we make sure that we're connecting people who have skills with the jobs that are available, and also continue to work to create more jobs. That's the overall goal. As far as being the co-chair of the Congressional Military Family Caucus, this is actually, I think, our third Congress now that Sanford Bishop and I have launched this effort. And it really grew out of me being in this position. Now, my husband, he was retired from the Navy after we met and married, so I don't get to actually say that. It's kind of, yes, I am a military. I'm married to a military retiree, but I didn't live that life. And those times when I'll be traveling now my husband actually carries the load at home. We got married after I was elected to Congress. We have 3 kids, and he's staying home with the kids, and I'm the one flying back and forth. And whenever I start grumbling about being away from the family for maybe a few days or a week, he'll say, Cathy, think about those military families. And he started doing that early on, and it really, he really started planting the seed about this whole focus that now has become a big part of my priority on Capitol Hill, but also that the reality that when someone joins the military, it's so much more than an individual commitment. It is the commitment that the entire family makes, and that we as a country need to recognize that. And representatives on Capitol Hill and their staff, they need to be recognizing that. And so I think you all have a great story to tell, but there's certain unique challenges that military spouses face. And employment is one of those. You're moving around regularly, new schools, new homes. Also, education requirements vary from state to state, and licensure. We've heard a lot about that. So, Sanford Bishop and I, now Sanford Bishop is out of Georgia, a Democrat who's been around Congress longer than I have, but we launched the Military Family Caucus in an effort to put a microphone in front of military families to highlight what is happening. And through the years, we have been encouraged by just the I think the effort across the board. And so we started. So I think this is our 5th year now, but the caucus has focused on various issues like mental health, TRICARE, healthcare, the impact of multiple deployments, education issues. We've done a couple of briefings on special needs. I have a child with special needs, and when our firstborn was born, Cole, and he's almost 7 now, we were in TRICARE. So I learned firsthand some of the challenges there, and there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. But the caucus is simply, it allows members of Congress from both sides of the aisle, from all corners of the country that serve on various committees, to come together and say, okay, this is a priority for us, and we hold briefings. We've done summits on Capitol Hill. We've held a Military Family Caucus summit in Spokane at Fairchild Air Force Base, which I happen to represent, but also down at Fort Benning in Georgia, where Congressman Sanford represents, and we've done 2 down there. But so not just doing it on Capitol Hill, but trying to get across the country. And I know that MOAA in this report is traveling the country too to highlight it. In addition, we early on, when the First Lady, Michelle Obama, and Dr. Joe Biden decided that they were going to put together joining forces, we were down at the White House with them, sharing some of what we had learned, but then also partnering with joining forces. And I've been so encouraged then through the years to see the focus nationally on military families. And yes, there's still more work to be done. But even if you look at spousal employment, I know that where we started a few years ago, where we are today as far as licensure challenges from state to state. I know it still exists, but there's more states that are recognizing it and taking action to make it a simpler process. In some cases, it means that they have to pass legislation in other states, and they're approaching it different ways, where maybe they recognize the military spouse and says, okay, we're gonna grant you whatever license you need, and then you can start working through the process. Other times they'll just recognize in other states. But all of those efforts at the state level multiply, and it's part of the education that needs to take place. And not only is the caucus in the House, we also have a corresponding caucus in the Senate. Not too long after we started it, the senators said, we think we should be doing this also. So there's a Military Family Caucus chaired by Senators Boxer and Burr in the Senate, just for you to be aware of. And we do sometimes we'll get together, the 4 of us, and do some kind of an event. One of the more recent bills that passed Congress that you might be interested in is called the Hire More Heroes Act. That was just earlier this month. It passed the House, and this is an effort to just make it easier for small businesses that are hiring veterans under Obamacare, some of the requirements to recognize the veterans, and again, just making a little incentive for small businesses to prefer to hire those with the veteran background. Certainly, there's no one more deserving of employment than our servicemen and women and their families. So I appreciate the chance to be here today. I am grateful for your service, your sacrifice, and your commitment to this country, both you and your family. And I am grateful to MOAA and their leadership, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have in the time that we have. So thank you very much.
have anybody who would like to ask a question, then come up to the mic? There's one, please, come on up.
Hi, thanks for joining us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious if you could maybe let us know how many military spouses work on Capitol Hill.
Oh.
Your staff.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer, so that's something I should work on, and I think it prompts me to, yeah, that's good. But I'll tell you, it was a military spouse on my staff that was a part of getting this going, and she was my first military staffer who said, we need to do this, and got it going both here and back home in Spokane. And so it does make a difference, and I have often thought I could use another Amy Henneke in my life and on my staff. So that's a good idea. Something we should. I will take that back. I think it's something that the caucus could highlight. Yes. No, we do have a website, or not a website. We have a Facebook page, the Congressional Military Family Caucus Facebook page, and that's something that you might want to plug into. But I like the idea of us doing a little call to action among the congressional offices that we should consider hiring military spouses. But I think part of it is that we need to let you know there are some websites, there's job banks of positions on Capitol Hill. So for those of you that are right here in this vicinity, that's something easy that we'll go back and we can post that on our Facebook page. That's what we'll do. We'll because there's several, and I don't know them all, but I know the Heritage Foundation has one, and they have a jobs list that they keep track of. Within the House Republican Caucus, we have one that's linked to GOP.gov, right? So if you go to GOP.gov and search for the jobs bank, you can find it there, and that's where at least the Republican House members will list jobs that are available, and that's a great idea. We need to promote that a little bit more.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Time for one last question, if there is. Any other questions?
I actually have one.
Okay, I knew there was somebody. Good.
Thank you so much for championing the military spouse up on Capitol Hill. We really appreciate that. And you probably don't get this a lot, but how can we help you
Right.
help us? A lot of times it's the what can you do for me? What can we do for you on the base level to help champion ourselves and to get the word out and help spread the word and help you do a better job getting the things that we would like to see done.
Well, thank you. That is greatly appreciated, and I think part of it is that we just need to increase this network. And part of the reason we started the Facebook page was to try to just make sure that people know that they're not alone, and that there's a family, and that there's a place where you can go and plug in. But if you're interested in just getting updates or being connected to what the caucus is doing, I think that could be most helpful. And when we do the summit, helping us get the word out so that people come to Washington, D.C. And we've, right now we've done it in Fort Benning and Spokane, but we need to do more of that just to get the word out. But there are a number of organizations that are taking on the cause of the military spouse, and I can't help but think building that coalition and that's going to multiply the voice, be that megaphone, and that's what the caucus is really trying to do. More than anything, is just put a microphone in front of the military spouse and connect them. So putting the microphone in front of you, when we do these briefings, we have not just the press, but we also are connecting you with the decision makers, both on Capitol Hill as well as down at the Department of Defense. And so it is, it's being connector, and also making us aware of the issues. And what you think the solutions are. Certainly, I've learned through the years that some branches are handling these issues better than others, and no one wants just to add another program for the sake of adding another program, but really highlighting what's working well. And my goal is to help our military leaders be as effective as they can be. And within the branches, just to say, well, you know what, maybe the Army's doing this well, or the Air Force is doing this well, and you could look at that, not feeling like they have to reinvent the wheel. So just, and if you have other ideas, let me know. That would be great. Okay, thanks for having me.
Thank you. I'll just say one thing here. Congressman McMorris Rodgers, thank you so much. It's because of her leadership that we're going to be going up and briefing the key staff members tomorrow on the study that Karen and James briefed you on military spouses. Because of her leadership, we're getting to inform all of the folks up on the Hill. So leaders do make a real difference, and Congressman McMorris Rodgers is making an enormous difference. Thank you very much.